Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla. I'm your host, and today is day 10 of our 12 Days of Leadership series. We're diving into something every high-achieving leader absolutely needs, which is boundaries, balance, and real burnout prevention. So if your shoulder just dropped 2 inches hearing that, like, oh yeah, you're in the right place. So let me ask you, do you ever catch yourself thinking, I'll rest after this project, or I don't want to disappoint anyone, or saying, I got to do it myself so it gets done right, or everyone comes to me because I'm reliable. And suddenly you're staying late, working through lunch, waking up with a racing mind, or working through something you know isn't supposed to be the thing you're meant to do. My friend, those statements are not facts. They are boundary leaks. And every leak drains your energy, your clarity, and your impact as a leader. So today I'm going to help you patch up the leaks. I want to share with you something I learned the hard way. A few years ago, I had a point in my leadership where I was, quote, performing excellence, but I wasn't, quote, feeling excellent. I was showing up, holding space, solving problems, having empathy, making decisions, but internally, I felt stretched, very thin, and out of alignment. And what I realized was I wasn't burned out because I was working too much or too many hours. I was burned out because I wasn't working in alignment with my personal boundaries. When your boundaries are unclear, work expands until it fills every inch of your energy. And I know so many of you feel the same way because you've told me in my survey responses when you join our community. Here's some of the things you say. Quote, I'm working late almost every day, or I want a better work-life balance, or I need to stop firefighting, or I want to lead without overextending. And because of this episode is for you. All right, I want to teach you the 3 signs you need better boundaries. You probably already know them, but maybe you're sort of in the boundary boundaryless swirl, and you need somebody to point it out to you. Number 1, you often feel resentment or frustration. So this is one that I think people don't recognize right away. They're just kind of like annoyed at the situation, or maybe with a person, but they don't really know why. And when you feel resentment or frustrated, that's your body signaling like, hey, this is not sustainable. This is pushing back on something that maybe doesn't make me feel right. Number 2, you're constantly switching between tasks. Reactive leadership equals no boundaries around focus. And 3, you don't have any white space for thinking on your calendar. If your calendar looks like Tetris, which, come on, guilty as charged, I get it. It happens from time to time. That can be a boundary issue, not necessarily a time problem. So we got to take a step back, reflect, and do something about this. So let me teach you the framework that I like to teach in the Organized Leader Sprint. We talk a lot about boundaries, calendar management, inflow of information, and tasks and to-dos. And this is what I'm calling the boundary triangle for leaders here in this episode. So number 1, you want to think about capacity. What is realistically possible for you? You got to remember that you're a human, and your limits matter. They're real. Number 2, clarity. What is your role versus others' roles? And we lose balance when we do work that doesn't belong to us. Have you ever started thinking like, oh, you know what? I feel bad. I want to pass that along. Or, hey, they're asking for help. I'll just take this on. It's a little thing. And then all of a sudden you have a bunch of little things and it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot because you still have your own work to do. And number 3, communication. How do you express limits without guilt? I want you to know that boundaries aren't walls that have to stay the same and they can never be changed. They're more like guide rails or flexible. Like I honestly think of my toddler gate that I have. It's like sometimes the gate's there and sometimes it's down. It can be moved and adjusted. So when any of these 3, capacity, clarity, or communication, are missing, that's when burnout can creep in. But when they align, you keep calm, confident, and strategic, and you are a leader who protects their energy and their impact. All right, so you're like, Kayla, what do I do? What are some simple things I can do, especially in December here when everything feels like hustle and bustle until the new year? And so here's some practical boundaries you can set today. Number one, the one thing I will protect rule. So before your day starts, name one non negotiable boundary. It can be a break, taking my lunch, or maybe a project planning block, or a meeting free hour, or leaving on time. Setting one thing that you can control and protect today can make you feel better and make it so that you're like, yeah, I'm showing up for what matters for me today. And honestly, some days I have different boundaries, right? So, like one day a week, my husband picks up the kids from daycare. And so I know that's one of my flexible days for when I can stay and work late. And other days, I have to have that boundary of, nope, I have to log off on this time because my kid is getting out of school, whether or not I can help it. And so I've got to be there for them. Number two is the strategic yes formula. So I know saying no can be hard. So instead of saying no, you can say, quote, I can say yes to this. And here's who can help us. Or what does the timeline need to be? Or this is the timeline, establish that. Or here's what drops off my plate. So basically saying like, yeah, couch it in, I can do this, but this is what needs to change, or this is what I can do. Will that work for you? And if it doesn't, okay, fine, then I'm not the right person to do this. Or if it does, then great, I'll work it in and we'll rearrange things. But then it doesn't feel like you're having work pushed on you that you're not able to accomplish. You can say yes in a way that works well for you. Number three, the only fraction of my job is emergencies reminder. So I want you to remember that only maybe, let's say, 5% of your job should be emergencies. I remember one of my bosses told me about a lesson they learned the hard way, which is, bringing an emergency to their leader, which I think we've all done this, like, especially as we're learning to be leaders, brought a fire to our leader. And the person got told, your emergency is not my emergency. And while I haven't said that necessarily in those exact language to people that I've worked with or that have come to me with an emergency, I have expressed that back to them like, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm not able to deal with this right now. Maybe there's something different that you can do. And so I want you to know, if you are allowing people to bring emergencies to you 24/7 all of the time, then you need to set a boundary with that. Everything else should be intentional, not reactive. I want you to give yourself permission to pause, and not everything is an emergency, and you are not there to solve everyone else's problem. Number four, calendar boundary audit. Look at your meetings. Are they aligned with your role, or are they legacy responsibilities you never released? Leaders level up by letting go. I'm actually working on this right now because I hired a manager to take over some of my areas. And I have some meetings on my calendar that, they're on and I'm on. And I'm like, okay, I still want to be informed. What's a good way for me to still lead and maybe release some of these things, get the updates I need, and build capacity for myself so I can do more strategic work? It's something we all need to work through. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but if you can slowly start letting go and changing things up, you will be able to level up. So again, practical boundaries you can set today. I'm sorry they're not like named in a easy way to remember them, but the first one is the quote, one thing I will protect today rule. Number two is using the strategic yes formula. Number three is the 5% of my job is emergencies only. The rest should be intentional. And four, a calendar boundary audit. All right. So as you reflect on the week, or as you're thinking back about your boundaries, I want you just to take a breath and be like, okay, where did I abandon myself this week? And what is one boundary I can put back into place tomorrow? Just let this be your moment to reset. You don't have to be perfect with this. Like I said, our boundaries are, they can move, they mold, they change over time. The same boundaries you have had, 2 years ago don't have to be the same ones you have now. And we do need to audit this. If something all of a sudden starts feeling off to you, then pause and think about why, and then reassess and change it. All right. So I want to end with a purpose-driven leadership moment. There's two things. I want to model leadership that gives back, creates meaning, and supports real lives and families. So if you have heard about my NMDP, or formerly Be the Match fundraiser, I'm running the Gary Bjorklund half marathon in June. It's during Grandma's Marathon weekend. It's the 50th anniversary of Grandma's Marathon. I'm fundraising for NMDP through running the half marathons, my second time running. If you feel so called to contribute, you can visit my fundraising page in the show notes. No pressure, just purpose. It's for fun. And, we'll see where I end up at, by the time we race in June. And then the other thing is, if you're listening and you're like, wow, I really need structure, I need boundaries, I need leadership system that actually works, then I think you'll love my organized leader sprint. And like I've been saying during all of our episodes, we are currently enrolling through the 16th. So inside, we'll build your personal leader standard work, your systems for focus, we'll set up your boundaries and your project dashboard, everything that supports sustainable leadership. So check that out at kfaconsulting.org/sprint. It'll be in the show notes. So thank you for joining me for day 10 of the 12 days of leadership. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving into promotion, visibility, and preparing you for the next level. You don't want to miss it. Until then, protect your energy, lead with intention, and honor your boundaries. You deserve a leadership experience that feels aligned and whole. I will talk to you soon. Bye.